Every single Muslim man needs a remote income. You probably work in an environment which you're not happy with. You're having to free mix with non-Muslims and women in your environment. You're having to compromise on your religion, right? Maybe you're not able to pray on time. Maybe you're working long hours and that's taking you away from your salawat and from being able to seek knowledge and even spend time with your family, right? And the thing is, this brief period of time over the last 5 years, 5 to 10 years, has made it possible for Muslims to take advantage of the biggest opportunity, which is making money online, having a remote income, right? Our parents, when they came over to the UK 50, 60, 70 years ago, whatever it may be, they came here because they wanted to give a lot of their future generations a much better life, right? There was no such thing as remote income. And in this day and age, I feel like if as a Muslim man, you're already in a compromised situation, right? What you do right now for work is not halal because of the environment that you're in. If you know all of that and you're seeing people around you make money online, but yet you sit there and you accept continuing to stay in your current situation, I would really ask you to reflect, because what do you actually value, right? Do you want to continue staying in an environment which is affecting your religion, which is not allowing you to actually achieve the things you want to live, you want to be able to achieve in life, right? Not allowing you to live the life that you want to live, because that decision is going to come down on you. You as a man have the responsibility to change your family situation, right? That is your responsibility and mine as Muslim men, right? And it has never been easier to learn a skill and make money remotely, okay? And so there are many different vehicles out there. And I think that I truly believe it is upon us as Muslims to take advantage of this, because nobody else is going to do this for you, right? You have to take the step. You probably went to university, you probably studied for 3 years, 5 years, whatever it may be. You got a degree and you got a job right now, right? And you see yourself as somewhat, according to society, somewhat, educated and successful. But what does that actually mean? How are you successful in any way, realistically speaking? I remember when I was working a corporate job, on paper I had a degree and I had a corporate job, right? A professional job. But those are just words. What does that mean? What kind of life am I actually living? How happy do I feel when I wake up and I have to go and I commute and I have to work with people who I don't really want to be working with, and I'm doing things I don't really want to be doing? Like, what is your definition of success? Because if it's having a degree and having a professional job, that's great. Continue doing what you're doing. But you might want to change your definition of success if you are truly not happy with where you're at and what you're doing. And as Muslims, our definition of success should actually be how close we are to Allah Azza wa Jal, right? How much we worship Allah Azza wa Jal. And if the thing that we do for 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, if that thing doesn't allow us to actually get close to Allah, how successful are we, right? Let's just take this purely monetarily. If you're not making the money that you want to be making, how successful are you? Let's talk real. Let's be real here, right? How successful are you if you're making an average UK wage? Yeah, in the UK. Like, you're not very successful. Cost of living is high. You're probably just about getting by paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, you have a degree and a professional job. What is that doing for you? What kind of life is that allowing you to live? If you have children, what kind of upbringing are you able to give your children, right? The UK is an absolute madness. It's a mess. Crime, Muslims being attacked. How is living in the West actually a definition or any metric of success that we can actually subscribe to? Like, how is that successful? And so I'm making this video because on my channel I speak a lot about making money online, but I think people need to stop and just reflect on how important this actually is. Because I love this quote that I heard from somebody else, which is that the longer that you wait to take action on living the life that you know you should be, the more everybody that you love around you suffers. because they are reliant upon you, right? Ultimately, we are all reliant upon Allah Azza wa Jal, but as Muslim men, we are the providers and protectors of our women folk, of our children and our families. Nobody's going to do the hard work for you. Nobody's going to take the initiative to go out there and look at different avenues, not the traditional ways of making money, but the ways of making money which is actually going to allow you to live the life that you want to live, right? Hijrah. This is huge. It's something that I'm, inshallah, in the works of doing, right? And I'm only able to do it now because I have a remote income. Hijrah is super important. How can we as Muslims know that we will be closer to Allah Azza wa Jal when we hear the adhan, when we are surrounded by Muslim men and women who are dressed in an Islamic way, where our children can hear the adhan, they can see other Muslims, they can interact with those children, and it is the full culture of the society that we live in to pray your 5 times a day, to stay away from haram, right? To wear decent clothing, right? To uphold Islamic values. How can I sit here and say that that would not be a better life for my family? Of course it would be. Of course it would be. On the Day of Judgment, I truly fear this, right? Allah will ask us, what did we do to allow our families to get closer to Allah, to get closer to this religion, to make it easier for them to practice it? Be real with yourself. You living in the UK, you living in the West, are you genuinely making it easy for your family? Are you actually allowing them to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal in the way that you could do if you actually tried, if you actually dedicated yourself for 3 to 6 months to learning a skill, which is a high value skill, to make enough money, make it in a remote way so that you're not dependent upon anybody and that you can make hijrah? Like, think about that. That is what is required for you to be able to achieve that. Honestly, you don't have to be smart. You don't have to be anything special. You just have to work hard. And if you can do that, if you can work hard for 6 months, learning a skill and putting your absolute everything into changing your situation, you can completely change your life and the life of the family that you have and your generations. Just imagine the ajr, just imagine the reward that you would get for being able to allow your family to make hijrah. Because this comes back to everybody says they want things, right? Everybody says they want to get closer to Allah, myself included, right? But what do our actions say? Are you actually doing everything in your power to help your family get closer to Allah and make the money that you want to be making and allow you to be successful in dunya and in deen? Like, are your actions aligned with what you say? Because I'll tell you one thing, our parents and our our forefathers and whatever, depending on whenever your family came to the UK or to the West, their actions actually showed that they wanted to give us a better life, right? I'm not saying whether it was a right decision or a wrong decision to leave Muslim lands. Forget right or wrong. But their actions to do something, to leave, to risk, to move to the other side of the world, that showed that they were at least trying with their actions, showing with their actions that they're willing to do what it takes for their families. Can you say the same? Think about that. Genuinely ask yourself, up until now, you're probably in your 20s or 30s, around that age, up until now, can you genuinely look in the mirror and tell yourself that you have done everything in your power to start a business, to get a remote income, to make hijrah, to make the most money you possibly can make so that you can help your family? You can serve the religion. You can give to charity. You can help the Muslim Ummah. Can you say that? And if you can't, how long are you willing to wait? Because time is ticking. And every moment that you wait, the people around you that you love suffer not being able to live the life that they could live if you stepped up and you did something about it. Now, I'm saying all of this, right? But what options do you actually have? Well, the vehicle that I chose was high ticket sales. This allowed me to leave my income, okay? I'm not saying high ticket sales is going to allow you to make 100k a month, right? There are people doing that out there, but I'm just saying to set expectations realistic. Most people just need to be able to replace their income, which will allow them to make hijrah, allow them to take care of their families, and so on and so forth, right? And if that is the goal, high ticket sales is an amazing vehicle, because all you're doing is you're learning the skill of sales, which is a skill that has been around for since the dawn of time, and it will remain. You're selling high ticket items, products, coaching services, mentorships, AI services, business consulting, coaching, all of this kind of stuff. And you're helping these people sell those things, and you're taking a commission. Okay. Now, another reason why I chose high ticket sales, because if you actually want to be entrepreneurial, and I think all Muslims should have a level of entrepreneurialism within them. Maybe you don't want to be an entrepreneur, as your full-time thing. Maybe you want to work some kind of job, you're a doctor, whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do believe that as Muslims, when we look at the lives of Sahaba, they were all engaged in tijara. They were all entrepreneurs, right? It allows you control. You don't have to answer to anybody. If you don't want to wake up and go to work tomorrow, you can do that. If you need to take your wife to an appointment, or you need to take your children somewhere, you don't have to beg somebody and say, can I take this day off? Right? That's called power. That's called having control. As men, we all need control, especially as Muslim men of this ummah. If we actually want to strengthen this ummah, how can we be reliant upon others? We need to build ourselves up, build our communities. And that starts with us first. So, being able to work online, sell services, have a high income skill is actually going to allow you to get into that journey of entrepreneurship, right? Being in a sales environment, right? For those of you that are not really familiar with it, you see the whole back end of every single business, how they do their marketing, how they do their fulfillment, how they actually, how they do their sales, obviously, being in sales. You see every single aspect of a business, and it shows you how these are just normal people, but they just take different actions. They're in a different vehicle, which allows them to make a lot more money. And if that's what you want to do, you can learn all of those skills while being a salesperson, right? And so, to tie this all off, if up until now you feel like you haven't done enough, every single moment is a chance for you to change. You can change your whole situation after today, after watching this one video. Because maybe this video came across to you for a reason. Maybe Allah put it in front of you to see what you would do. Because if you actually want to make hijrah, if you actually want to be able to make more money than you're currently making, if you actually want to be able to give your family the life that they want to be able to live, it all starts with making a change, committing yourself, showing up daily, and it does not take 10 years. Trust me, guys, I did this. It did not take me that long. It took me a lot longer than I think it should have, because I wasn't committing fully. It was only until I actually made the decision to leave my job and go full-time into high ticket sales that I actually showed up like the person I needed to. And alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me a fully halal role in a Muslim company where I can now make money online. I started making more money than I did in my 9 to 5. And there will be months where you'll go up and down, right? I want to set expectations very realistic. The high ticket sales space is not sunshine and rainbows, okay? But if you're looking to replace your income and have the ability to be able to make way more money than your job, and you want to be able to work remotely, high ticket sales is an amazing vehicle for you to be able to do that, because the skill of sales is something that will always remain. And there are so many Muslims now that are utilizing this specific skill to actually make money online and have a remote income, right? So it's the month of Ramadan. I want you to reflect. What are you actually doing for your family and for your deen? If you don't have a remote income, truly ask yourself, will having a remote income actually help me and my family get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal? Chances are yes, if you're not already living in a Muslim country. If you're already living in a Muslim country, khalas, maybe it doesn't, right? And in this video, I'm mainly just talking about one aspect of why I feel like having a remote income, getting into high ticket sales is a good thing to do, which is mainly from the pure angle of being in the right environment, right? There are a whole load of other benefits, I believe, which is why I chose it, but just being able to make hijrah, just having that option, that in and of itself is a big enough reason, I believe, to take this seriously. At least look into it, right? At least start speaking to people. Whether it's you want to connect with me on Instagram, drop me a message. Like, Speak to people who are in the world of sales, who are already one step ahead of you, and gain knowledge from them. How does it work? How can I get into this? Because trust me, I have seen so many people who have not got crazy IQs, or they're not qualified in any way, shape, or form, but they just committed themselves, they put their trust in Allah, and alhamdulillah, 3 to 6 months later, completely different situation. They've been able to change their whole environment, make hijrah, take care of their families, and so on and so forth. So it was a bit of a ranty video, but I think it was needed. I think as Muslims, we really need to stop and reflect at every moment of our lives and actually think, are we doing everything we possibly can to level up ourselves in the dunya, but also in the deen? Because at the end of the day, the akhirah is what is awaiting for all of us. And this is a reminder for myself first and foremost, which is I can't be complacent. I need to upgrade. There are people who in this ummah need my help. My family needs me. And to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal, I need to be in the best possible position financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, in terms of my deen, to actually be able to do that. And so, yeah, take a moment to reflect. It's not too late. You have time to actually make a change. You just need to tie your camel and put in the work, inshallah wa ta'ala. Hopefully you found that useful. If you do want to connect, drop me a message on Instagram or drop me a comment below letting me know what you want to see more of. If there's anything specific you want me to cover in high ticket sales, let me know, inshallah. And other than that, I'll catch you on the next one, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.